KCAU 9 News at 10.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Tim Seaman.
And I'm Sophie Erber. Both the House and the Senate meeting today for a joint session on Capitol Hill. It was to certify the Electoral College votes from the presidential election. Now, in a typical year, this would have been an uneventful ceremony of sorts.
That's right, but today's session was interrupted by thousands of protesters, many converging on the Capitol, breaking into that historic building. We have the new information tonight from Washington in our top story at 10.
And at this hour, that joint session has resumed. It is still underway, with Congress and the Senate getting back to the business of certifying the Electoral College results. Nebraska Senator Ben Sasse tonight commenting on the floor on how to move forward productively after today's events.
There's a lot of uncertainty about the future. I get it. There's a lot that does need to be rebuilt. But if you're angry, I want to beg you, don't let the screamers who monetize hate have the final word. Don't let nihilists become your drug dealers. There are some who want to burn it all down. We met some of them today, but they aren't going to win.
Our Washington correspondent Anna Warnicki is in Washington tonight, and she joins us. Anna, what is the situation there on Capitol Hill tonight?
Good evening. Well, where I am right now, we're in the studio, so we're a few blocks from the Capitol, and it's a lot quieter now than it was just a few hours ago. There was a curfew put into place at 6 p.m. in D.C. By the mayor. It's been a few hours since that curfew has been put in place, but we can see that the protesters are still on the street, and D.C. police are still trying to clear the streets just to make sure that everybody is safe.
Now, what is the mood there really moving forward this evening? Because there was talk about potentially delaying that vote. But as we can see, the lawmakers did choose to go forward with it, Anna.
I think that the sentiment was just to get this done with as quickly as possible and move forward, picking up this vote and quickly getting this certification process done with, because they know that it's going to be a long, drawn-out process. They were only, only 3 states in, had many states to go, and when you're adding COVID protocol on top of that, it's just already a long process, and this just delayed it a little bit longer. So they know that this could take hours early into the morning, or if not in days, but they do have to wrap up this entire certification process within the next 5 days.
And political leaders right here at home are voicing their opinions over what took place this afternoon on Capitol Hill.
KCAU 9 News reporter Marina Bach tonight joining us live from the newsroom, sharing both Republican and Democratic thoughts on how the country can recover moving forward. Marina?
Yeah, Tim and Sophie, I spoke with both sides of the aisle here in Woodbury County, some of our local political leaders. They shared with me just how in shock they are with what happened earlier today on the Capitol Hill, but they said that they're remaining positive that things will get better here throughout our United States.
An unimaginable scene taking place inside the nation's capital. Protesters pushed their way through security and onto the Senate floor.
The hardest part of watching today's events is that through the use of violence, we saw protesters and individuals put the lives of law enforcement at risk, put the lives of journalists and people in the Capitol, officials that we have elected, at risk.
The event forcing a lockdown of the building and putting a halt to the certification of Joe Biden's presidential victory.
So the people who were involved in this, who undertook this activity, were just, directly attempting to disrupt and prevent a constitutionally directed activity. This is incredibly egregious.
As for what's at the root of Wednesday's assault on the Capitol, many are asking what part the president played.
It was a sad day and something that never should have happened, and really only happened because of the incitement to violence that our president called for.
But this is anarchy. This is lawless behavior that no one can condemn, no one can support. These are not Republicans taking these actions.
With order once again restored on the Hill, Warren Strad says getting past the low point and finding new common ground will be key.
We have problems with each other. The way to address those problems is to engage in direct but peaceful activity.
We've all changed our party identification over the years, once or twice, at least most of us have. And we need to realize we're all Americans and we all have some common interests.
Tonight, lawmakers did return to the Capitol to finish counting those electoral votes. This is the final step in formalizing President Joe Biden's electoral win. Reporting live in the newsroom, Marina Bach, KCAU 9 News.
All right, Marina, thanks for that. And even as the assault on the Capitol building continued, members of the Siouxland congressional delegation began letting people know that they were safe while also speaking out about the events.
South Dakota Senator John Thune saying it's time to restore people's trust in our country's elections.
I think people, including from the president and others around him and others in voices in media circles, some places, on social media platforms, have been putting out false facts and then getting people to believe those things now for weeks. And it's time for it to stop. It's time for the madness to stop.
Iowa Congressman Randy Feenstra in the 4th District was among those safely escorted out of the House of Chambers as that chaos ensued earlier today.
This morning, as I walked out, thousands and thousands of people were out there, and I think it just slowly devolved over the late morning and then early afternoon. It is tragic. It's just a very sad day for the Republic, for our country.
Senator Feenstra's colleague from South Dakota, fellow Republican Dusty Johnson, of course, he also checking in, calling the day's events a terrible situation.
It has been hard to see the United States Capitol overrun by people who crave violence. The Capitol Police are doing everything they can, but they are overrun. This is just a terrible situation.
Iowa Senator Joni Ernst, just beginning her 2nd term in the Senate, also reacting on social media, saying, "I served in uniform to defend the right to peaceful protest." What's happening at the Capitol right now is not peaceful nor a protest. It's anarchy and a betrayal of the American ideals we all hold dear. My staff and I are safe, thanks to Capitol Police for your selfless work. Nebraska Senator Deb Fischer also weighing in, saying these rioters have no constitutional right to harm law enforcement and storm our Capitol. We are a nation of laws, not some banana republic. This must end now.
And as lawmakers from the tri-state sounded off on the chaos on the Capitol today, we are compiling all their social media posts together in one story. You can find that story as well as continuing coverage of any breaking events on our website right now. That's SiouxlandProud.com or on the free KCAU 9 News app.
Now to Georgia for another headline tonight where both Senate runoff races there have been called for the Democratic candidates. That ends Republican control of the U.S. Senate. With 98% of the votes now in, the Associated Press calling the race for Jon Ossoff, who has won 50.3% of the vote. This compared to incumbent candidate and Republican David Perdue's 49.7%. Now, when the results are finalized, Democrats and Republicans each will have 50 seats apiece in the Senate, with the Democratic Vice President-elect Kamala Harris being the tiebreaker. Reverend Raphael Warnock, a Democrat, was declared the winner against Kelly Loeffler, the incumbent, earlier this morning.
The vaccine distribution nationwide for coronavirus has been split up into different tiers, we're learning, making sure that first responders and frontline workers are vaccinated before others. And here in Siouxland, Group 1B is now set to receive their first dose of that vaccine. That group is broken into 4 different tiers. The first tier includes people over the age of 75, then first responders, homeless shelter staff, educators, and others. Distribution will happen sometime within the next few weeks. Group 1A, which included healthcare workers, already received their first doses. They're now working to get their second dose.
We are very excited to be receiving the vaccine. In the near future, I know we are 1B on the prioritization, so it might be a little bit of time before then, but we are working very closely with Dakota County Health.
Siouxland District Health Director Kevin Green says the department is still working tonight on how they plan to roll out vaccines for the general public. That should be sometime this spring.
And tonight in Climbing Hill, another wave of those vaccinations being rolled out. The first vaccination clinic by Siouxland District Health, targeting about 100 rural emergency medical services personnel, which are included in the Phase 1A. That's a priority group, of course. This type of clinic could be something that we see more of, according to Tyler Brock from Siouxland District Health.
Well, there's a chance that we will, I'm sure that as we open up vaccine more to the general public, that we'll be doing some out in the rural areas as well. We're a little ways away from doing general public, but we are all in favor of coming out to the rural area and bringing it out to where it's convenient for folks.
Brock says that district health plans to come back in about a month to register a second dose to make sure that personnel there are fully covered.
Today, a grim milestone. More than 4,000 Iowans have died because of coronavirus. The Iowa Department of Public Health reporting another 61 fatalities. That is over the past 24 hours. That is of those who died from COVID-19. 1,139 were residents of long-term care facilities, so almost a quarter. There are currently 91 outbreaks at Iowa's long-term care facilities. There have also been more than 2,700 new positive tests at those facilities, which brings the statewide total to roughly 290,000 cases. Let's take a look now at the latest COVID-19 numbers as of tonight here in Siouxland. Woodbury County health officials reporting 94 cases in 24 hours, as well as 39 patients currently in hospital with coronavirus.
Meanwhile, in Nebraska, Dakota County has 21 new positive tests, and the county has recorded 96 confirmed cases in the past 2 weeks. And in South Dakota, Clay County listing 107 cases tonight and a 7-day positivity rate, I should say, of 18%. And Yankton County now 237 active cases, that positivity rate at 12%. Well, some chaos in Siouxland earlier today, but not what we were fearing it could be. This is, of course, from the weather department.
That's right. And it was an odd combination of a little bit of snow, a little bit of rain, and probably because temperatures teetering on that freezing mark. Marcus?
That's right, Sophie. Temperatures today were mostly above freezing, so that's why we had that rain mix in. The snow that did fall was that heavy, wet, slushy snow, and that's why we had such big snowflakes, because the snow is so wet. It really sticks together, and it creates those big flakes that we had today. So it looked pretty impressive as it was falling, but it really wasn't that much snow that we had here throughout Siouxland today. 37 degrees was our high temperature, and we spent most of the day there in the mid-30s here throughout Siouxland. 30 is our normal high temperature, so we were above average today. 32 is where we began the day. 10 is where we would typically have our low temperatures, so we were above average there as well. The records, both of those going to stick around. 56 degrees set back in 1933 and negative 20 set back in 1912. So both of those long-time records going to stick around. The view outside the KCAU 9 studio brought to you by the Port Neal Welding Company, showing that we are seeing a little bit of fog out there. We're going to see temperatures steady the next few days. 30 degrees Friday, 29 Saturday, 30 on Sunday. And then we will see temperatures increase a little bit next week with highs in the mid-30s. And also it looks like the dry pattern will continue. I think we'll see a bit more sunshine next week as well. Tim and Sophie?
Almost right on average where we should be. Thanks, Marcus.
Exactly. Thanks. High-speed internet can be hard to secure in rural areas.
And it is a problem many who have been working from home are keenly aware of. Unfortunately, how one company now working at improving those connections coming up. But first, if you're still waiting for that second stimulus check to hit your bank account, you're not alone.
We'll explain why there's been a bit of a delay and when to expect your payment. That's next.
You're watching KCAU 9 News with Tim Seaman, Sophie Erber, meteorologist Marcus Beasley, and sports director Jake Jones. This is KCAU 9 News at 10.
A second round of economic impact payments is in the works from the IRS, but many Americans still haven't received any.
That's right. And KCAU 9 News reporter Lydia Vasquez explaining what some Siouxlanders are being told about that and when those checks could be expected.
If people did not receive theirs or they have not received it yet, they can go on to irs.gov, and there's a little link that says, "Where's my economic impact payment?" It will tell them about when their payment was supposed to be released.
But that's not working for some Siouxlanders.
When we go to the Where's My Payment tool on the IRS website, it says info not available.
Justin Bushman says he filed his taxes with TurboTax and had fees taken out through a third-party bank. He says when he called the IRS, he was told his payment was sent to that same third-party bank, but the account for that bank is closed. Now he's left wondering when and if he'll see any of that money.
We're mainly using it for bills, and then I wanted to try and save up an emergency fund also. You know, my wife works at a school, and with the virus and stuff, who knows what's going to keep happening.
Nicole Tung and her husband went through a similar situation. He was recently injured at work, and she recently tested positive for COVID.
We might have enough to cover this month's bills, but so I was really depending on the money. I actually sent off my rent check thinking that this money would be here. So now I have to scramble to come up with money to cover the check when it goes through.
Volunteer tax preparer Susan McGuire says when people file their taxes, there will be a question that asks if they received either of the stimulus payments. If not, they can expect that money after filing. In Sioux City, Lydia Vasquez, KCAU 9 News.
Well, bankruptcy filings in 2020 hit their lowest level since 1986. This, according to a report put together by bankruptcy data firm Epic Acer. The overall drop coming despite an increase in Chapter 11 filings used by large businesses to reorganize.
Experts say that the trillions in federal stimulus payments help stave off more filings. And among the things that the pandemic has proven, one, just how crucial a fast internet connection is.
That's right, but rural parts of America, of course, can still struggle with just basic broadband service. Placed atop a water tower in Jersey County or a grain bin in town, the towers throughout these parts of the river bend help to keep the small town in a rural part of the country connected. Whisper, the Illinois-based high-speed wireless company, is currently in 6 states now, trying to offer high-access internet for rural parts of the region who are now stuck at home working or virtual learning during coronavirus.
Just like cable and DSL, except we don't require a phone line or cable into your house. We install an antenna on the outside of your house or office, run a cable down inside, and then after there, it has a wireless router just like everybody else, except we're coming from local towers and buildings in the area.
The company is using money it received from the Connect America Fund. So far, there are rural internet connections in Illinois, Missouri, Indiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and in Kansas. The plan is to install more than 80,000 connections across rural areas. A good idea.
Indeed. And just up next, sports, and the college wrestling season is just ahead. See how the Iowa wrestling team is gearing up for a rivalry match with Nebraska. That's still to come right after the break.
A Step in Time Florals is there for...
He led the way with 21 points. Well, that's going to do it for me here in sports. Tim, Sophie, I'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Jacob.
And we'll take a quick peek outside. A final look at your forecast is still to come. This live look from our tower cam here along Gordon Drive. When you head out the door first thing in the morning, a lot of moisture now freezing down out there, Marcus.
That's right. So tonight we are going to see those temperatures drop below freezing to around 27 degrees tonight. So any of that moisture out there, wet roadways, could become frozen tonight. I do expect that overpasses will become slippery, especially since it is still pretty wet out there. And we could still see some lingering flurries tonight as well. So by tomorrow, though, it does look like 32 for your high temperature with mostly cloudy skies and dry weather for us here tomorrow.
All right, thanks a lot, Marcus, and thank you for sticking with us tonight. We hope you have a great evening.